hard to escape. Bullshit, you're old. And you're walking on the moon. I've never been. Dance again. All our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel when you take me to some levels that I've never been. All our trouble seems to fade away. Will we dance
right, welcome everybody. Today we are joined by the one and only Vitalik Buterin, one of the co-founders of Ethereum, and also a fellow Canadian, Russian Canadian. Thanks so much for coming on today, Vitalik.
No, thank you very much, Alexandra. It's good to be here.
I have to admit, I was really excited when I heard that you play chess from one of our mutual friends, Jing. She told me that she used to play Candy Crush, and you told her to play chess instead.
Yes, I did.
Well,
She has gotten very good at chess since then.
so let me just fix the audio. I think it's a little bit quiet. So yeah, I know she's gotten better because that's actually how I met her initially. We were all playing chess together. So I appreciate you for sharing it to people who you know as well as your friends. And I think your dad also plays some chess.
Yes, he does, and no, even in father as well. He is, I think, by far the best in our family. He is quite amazing, and he kept kind of drilling the game into me when I was quite young, all the way through back when we were in Russia.
Oh, really? So you started playing at a young age?
And pretty much every time I would go back to visit my family in Russia, my grandfather would have a game with me at least a few times a week. So
Okay, that makes sense. I was trying to gauge your level, and when I tweeted at you initially, your dad commented because I said that you were pretty good at the game, and your dad I think was trolling, and he said he's not that good.
yes,
But I think Jing mentioned you're about 1500 on Lichess
yeah, in the 1500s.
in the 1500s. Okay, awesome. Well, I know you're really competitive, so we're gonna go for an even match. I feel like you're gonna play a lot better than your rating, but it'll be interesting regardless. So, do you want to start with a 10-minute game with 2-second increment?
Sure.
Okay, cool. And I'll challenge you on chess.com. So if you're in chess.com/live, I can actually start the game automatically, so it'll be a little bit easier to do.
Okay, chess.com/live, going there now.
Okay, awesome. And I think you
Thank
said
you.
your username was vbuterin, right? Yeah. Okay.
It is.
All right. Perfect. Um, hang on. Do you prefer to play with the white side or the black side?
I'm happy either side.
Okay. Then I will give you the white side. I will be polite and offer you the white side of the pieces.
Okay.
So I was also gonna leave the audio on, but if at any point you're thinking, I'll just mute myself and explain what I'm thinking to the audience as well.
Okay, sounds good.
And your 400 rating is not accurate here. It's just the new rating they give somebody who starts at this time control, just so everybody knows.
Indeed.
All right, well, good luck.
Okay, should I start?
Yep. Okay, so let's see. You're starting off with e4. I was curious what you're going to go for.
Uh,
We're going to play the French. It has a really bad reputation, but I've been playing it since I was a kid, so I always go for it.
All right.
George, thank you so much for the raid, Geohot. I really appreciate it. Also, thank you so much, Logic. I'm muting myself so that we don't distract. Okay, so you're playing a sideline here. I wonder if this is you coming up with your own stuff, or maybe you just don't like theory.
let's see. Hmm. What do I
Chat,
do?
I hope he doesn't know theory because something tells me Vitalik is gonna be much better than we initially expected. So it's a little bit intimidating. This might actually end up transposing, but we'll see. I'm gonna unmute myself now. All right, so you're playing kind of into the advanced variation, so I'm just gonna go for c5 and try to control your d4 square here.
Hmm.
Have you ever studied chess theory, by the way?
Oh, sorry. Can I? That was accidental. Can I move that back?
Yeah. What about we do this? I'm just gonna move my knight back and then move your bishop back to c1. We'll fix it by hand. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll adjust the time also.
I have some time ago, but not too much. Hmm. Let's
It makes sense. I think you're trying to take on c5. I don't know if that's what your plan is here, but that it would be my guess.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if it's actually not protected though. But let's see. I'm gonna play knight e7. So if you want to take c5, that's a friendly gift for you.
Okay.
No hesitation at all. Okay. I thought that would make you think about it a little bit more, but no chance.
Hmm. Okay, let me see. What are we up to here?
All right, chat. We're attacking 2 of his pawns now. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. We'll see. He's playing well so far, actually. He's kind of in mainline theory. We don't want to tell him he's in mainline theory because we still want to win the first game. No going easy on him, chat. No going easy on him. So we're gonna let him do his thinking. So I could take on e5 because now he has these 2
double threatening.
Let's just listen to his thoughts.
That's not good.
Yeah, thanks against Gio. Really appreciate it. Yeah, he's obviously not a 400. We said that's provisional. Well, that's a creative way to defend e5. I'm not sure if I want to take your bishop and get rid of your bishop pair, or let it survive for a little bit longer here.
Right.
You're like, I'm not gonna tell you. It's okay. It's okay. I'll come up with something.
Sure.
I know this is a little bit different from classical chess where obviously nobody's talking and it's pure silence. Have you competed in a classical tournament before by any chance?
I have not.
Okay. So then this version is more fun anyway. Okay, you tempted me. I'm just gonna get rid of the bishop pair.
Yeah.
Okay, and everything is protected again. So now I'm considering queen a5 to just check your king and get the pawn back. But I guess you have some interesting variations there, so I'm not sure.
Let's see. Trying to think.
I'm pointing out to people watching what I think your good move would be after, but I'll try not to say it out loud because I'm not trying to help.
Okay.
All right, chat. I'm gonna mute myself. I think he's playing this really well, and I'm worried that I can't take the pawn back right away. So the problem is if he pushes b5, I have a4 and c3, and this is kind of messy, honestly. So what are we gonna go for instead? I'm gonna start with queen c7. Let's see how your play responds. I didn't come up with anything very creative, but I'm just gonna keep putting pressure on these 2 pawns.
Okay. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 1, 2. Fine for the moment, but I don't know, for the longer term, I want to.
That was actually the move I was pointing out that's intimidating because now a5 doesn't work as well as it did before. But I think you should have played b4 first, so maybe the move order here matters.
Oh, I see. Okay, looks like I actually missed the bishop. Okay, now the question is, can I do something clever to get out of this? No, if I do a4, then you'll just defend with your bishop and you force me to make another move, so that's no good.
And I'm also putting pressure on e5.
Yes, indeed you are, because right now it looks like all of the squares I can retreat to take out its other defender, which is not good.
Yeah, e3 and queen f4. But I did like the c3 idea. I think just if you would have played b4, a5, and then c3, it would have worked a little bit better. But hey, yes. I mean, it's just a pawn or two. No big deal.
Okay. I mean, let's just think. Okay.
Chad, I feel bad. He had a really good idea and he just missed it with c3. I think if he would have pushed b4, I wasn't going to win it. Chat, he didn't want odds. He wanted an even game, so we're going to keep it to be an even game. And then we can discuss it and we can try some other variants as well. Good job, Tarish. Okay, I feel like that's very reasonable given your options. Unfortunately, you couldn't keep hanging on to the e5 pawn.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I should take it right away. Is there anything I have to be careful about?
Just realized did I miss a good strategy? The strategy I might have missed was bishop to b5, then check, and that actually would open the door for queen to a4, keep checking, and then I would actually have the move with which to do something. Right.
Yeah, I actually really like bishop b5, because if I play bishop d7, then I have to take back with my king if I want to keep putting pressure on your pawns. I think you gave that one a little bit easier than you should have.
All right.
And unfortunately, you can't play bishop b5 now, because that would still be good to ruin my castle because of the check.
Indeed. Okay, hold on.
Anyway, chat, he's only down a pawn here, so far it's okay. Chat, he's not 400 elo. Stop saying this. It's a new account. It's a new account. It's provisional rating. So that's why the situation is the way it is. Okay, I think that makes sense. I'm curious why you liked queen e2 instead of bishop e2. But maybe you don't want to give that away.
I think my usual reason is that queens in the hands of powerful people are scary, and so best to take them out.
Unfortunately, I have a reputation of accidentally blundering queens in fast time controls, so I actually appreciate you trading it off. The reason why I'm going to trade your queen is because I'm up a pawn, which isn't that much, but I think it's going to be easier for me in the endgame.
Very fair.
Chat, nobody told him my weakness. He doesn't know about the Botez Gambit, so he's not going to figure it out. We're very lucky.
No.
We're very lucky.
Don't do that.
Okay, b4. So, let's see. What I don't like about this move is that your pawn on c3 might become a little bit more weak now. But, let's see what I'm going to do here. I guess you could maybe trade it off. All right, I'm just going to play a tame retreating move for now. And hopefully one pawn is enough to squeeze the win, but we'll see. So now, chat, he still has some drawing chances.
Interesting thing can I even do here?
Okay, castle. I feel like whenever you castle in an endgame, it's often due to a lack of better options, just trying to go for something. Let's see. I'm curious, are you trying to push for a win here, or usually if you're in a worse position, do you try to go for a draw?
Let's see, what am I trying to do? I think my goal here is kind of shorter term. I dislike the fact that I have two pieces off in a corner there, and I'm trying to just get them out somewhere.
That makes sense, and castling brought out your rook from h1 as well. So I'm guessing why you played a3 is to protect b4, which makes me a little bit careful of the move c4, because I'd prefer that you can't move that pawn. So I'm going to play rook fc8 to put pressure on it.
No, you foiled my evil plan.
There we go. There we go. We got it. And now your knight is also tied into protecting.
It is indeed.
It was such a subtle plan too, a3, you know, just softly protecting the pawn on b4.
Okay, now let's see what's going on here.
Chat, he's 1500 on
Okay,
Lichess.
one defender.
So he's not 400. This is a new account.
Yeah, let's make this guy the other defender.
Okay, reasonable. Rook c1. So now you can push c4. So let me think if there's anything I can do to just... I think I'm going to be annoying here. I'm just going to play bishop e5. I'm going to kindly pin your pawn.
That is indeed annoying. And okay, you have 2 attacks, I have 2 defenses. And I'm going to make the move that protects me and at the same time lets my rook get out somewhere.
I think that was the best move you had here. And now, again, you could push c4, and I actually helped you develop a little bit. So maybe my annoying move was short-sighted. How do I stop c4 here? Sorry, go ahead.
No, the challenge is that I'm 1 move away from c4, and all your good moves for adding more pressure to c4 are taking 2 steps.
Like rook c7, rook c8?
Or pawn a6, bishop c5 even.
Yeah, it is annoying. And if I push b5 to just block your pawn, then I'm also kind of entombing my own bishop. So that is annoying. Okay, I have a knight. You actually just gave me idea. Thank you. I'm going to use part of my 2-move process here.
Okay. Then I'm going to actually step up.
c4. Yeah, I think you have to here. Otherwise, your position is just too cramped. And now I'm going to bring my other rook in to try to just pin your rook on c1.
I see what you did there.
A little tricky.
Hold on. Oh, no, sorry, that was...
Yeah, just move it back. Just move it back and we'll pretend it never happened. There we go.
Okay,
Nobody saw anything.
My intent was to do that.
Yeah. It's actually really annoying to have mouse slips online. It doesn't happen in classical chess, but, you know.
I play the mode with my phone more often with the desktop, so definitely not.
How do we get you to do a fireside chat on our Discord server? Justin Can just did one, and we love you.
Right, this is your natural defense.
Just send me a tweet, chat. I'm gonna turn off notifications so they don't disturb the process.
Ooh, what happens if I do that?
That's actually a very good move. I think I have to move my rook away. Luckily, your pawn is still pinned, though.
This is very true.
I know you're slightly lower rated, but when you say something is true, it makes me feel so validated.
Okay. No, if I push forward, you have 2 attacks, so that's not very pointful. I think I do just have to double this up.
And I'll have a very similar idea to what you went for, so I'm going to play bishop a4.
I see. Oh.
I mean, your pawn is still defended 3 times, so it's not so bad.
I'm going to try to see if there's room for me to be clever. Okay, pawn b6. You eat c2. Then I do pawn b7, and then you eat, and then I eat. Okay, so that's actually a fair trade. And then if pawn b6 and you do something other than eat my rook, then I just use my rook to eat your rook, and it's also a fair trade. Okay, let's do that.
What about my bishop on a4, though?
No, that's fine. If you eat the rook, then I'll just eat yours.
Okay, well, I'm interested to see how this is gonna play out.
Okay, I think I did completely blunder this.
That was almost there.
I can still do this, except
What's the problem with this move?
no. The problem is you eat my rook, and then I move back, and then you actually stop me from queening.
Yeah, exactly. Because I can take with check here, so it's going to be very hard to do.
Then
Okay, so now
you pretty much have to do one thing.
I
Things, but
yeah, I guess I could just move my rook and be happy. But another idea I have is actually to just sacrifice my rook here and get your knight.
Okay, then gives me a go there.
I think this is my only move. Yeah.
It is okay.
And now I'm gonna just take advantage of that back rank pin. And
Okay.
luckily my bishop on b8 is also holding your king from moving there.
It is indeed. Actually, I probably should. I don't think it would have made a difference. And okay, you're right. And then I guess at this point I don't really have a chance.
Yeah, this position seems a little hopeless to save unless like I blunder something crazy.
All right. So right now I have to. That's I think my only move to avoid a checkmate in one.
Yeah, that's true, because if you would have pushed your f pawn, then I could have moved my bishop to g3 to hold all of the squares. So actually I think g4 is probably the way to make the game the longest possible. So I think I can take here now.
Right. And what can I do?
Yeah. And I think this is the mate.
Yep.
But I just wanted to say, I thought your opening, you played it quite well. And on move, I can actually show you if you want me to invite you to an analysis board. Let me just do it like that. 1 second. So I'm gonna invite you to the analysis board.
Okay.
Let me know if you saw it, because sometimes it glitches out a little bit.
Okay, I see something. I see it.
Okay, cool. I think you're in the analysis board. Do you see the position moving now?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So there was this repetition, you know, like grandmasters when they're not allowed to offer a draw in tournaments, they sometimes just repeat the position. That looked like what we were going for there.
Yes.
So knight g7, d takes, knight g6, bishop d4, knight takes, queen c7, and here when I played queen c7, I thought I'm guessing you played c3 with the idea of b4, right?
Did. But
Yeah.
I should have done those in the opposite order.
Exactly, because if you play b4, now you're actually defending both of these two pawns. And if I play a5, which is a very common idea here, because I'm just trying to eliminate pressure from your defender.
Then I would just do c4 and I'd still be protected.
Yes, c3 or c4?
I'm sorry, c3.
Yeah, c3. And you can't play a3, mostly for the
Because if I eat, they grab my rook.
Yeah, exactly. So c3 is the only line here. But then if I take your pawn, I think you're kind of getting away with stealing a pawn here. Maybe I would try something like b6 here to at least use my bishop pair, but this is a much more even opening position. So basically you made only one mistake here and then the rest of them snowballed. So yeah, I think c3 happened a little bit too quickly.
It did. And then you did that.
So I'm going to skip to the end because I think being a pawn down is still something you can usually try to hold. I'm just going to actually pause at this position. So here you push b4. I think this is a very tempting move to go for just because my bishop is active and it pushes it back. But the problem with b4, I think you saw later, then I just made my entire plan around putting pressure on that weak c3 pawn. So if you had tried instead, do you have any other options you could have tried here?
Okay, let's see. What could I have done? If I want to keep c3 protected, then knight to d2 would have opened a path toward eventually attacking that square or doing other things if I wanted to.
Yeah, I think knight d2 is one of the best moves here, or even castling like you did in the game, this variation. Basically just go for the plan you had regardless, which was to develop your knight and your rook and castle, and then keep your pawn structure as compact as possible because you don't want to create any weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And then here I think this would have been your best bet to try to get some kind of draw.
Yep.
Or maybe you're ambitious and you play for a win even down a pawn, which I have a bad habit of doing. So maybe that's the case. Well, so do you want to try playing a different time, or do you want like a different variant, or maybe the same one?
We can try the fun variants.
Okay, you want to try the fun variant? Okay, I'm gonna link it to you. And I know I explained it to you a little bit before the match, but I'm gonna explain it to anybody who maybe hasn't seen this before. So this is called Fog of War, and the way it works is there's lack of perfect information. So Vitalik, you should have higher chances to beat me here because you can trick me and I might just fall into it. So the way it works is you only see the pieces that you're attacking. So if you, for example, bring out a bishop and it's attacking a pawn, then you understand where the pawn is. So you kind of have to guess where your opponent's pieces are. And if at any point you attack their king and they don't move it, you can take it and win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to get to the link I showed you?
Hold on. Where is the link being sent?
Oh, I sent it in Zoom chat, but I can also send it on Twitter if that's
Oh,
easier.
sorry, Zoom chat. That's Zoom chat is the one chat I never. I honestly hate the most because it's the one thing that doesn't have notifications.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but okay, there it is. I see it, and I'm there now.
Okay, perfect. And my internet for the first time in months just started dropping a couple frames.
Oh no.
Let me just check quick. I mean, usually it only lasts like 10 or 15 seconds. I am on an Ethernet cable, so that's really weird. Sorry, let me just refresh it. Give me 1 second. How's the internet in Singapore, by the way?
Internet's quite stable.
Quite stable?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that, well, one of the many things that doesn't have too many problems.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I heard Singapore being described as Disneyland, but with a death penalty. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yes, this is that famous I think William Gibson article or from the 90s or whatever it is.
Right. How long have you been living in Singapore for now?
I've been. I mean, my lifestyle is weird. Like I just because of Ethereum stuff, I just travel everywhere nonstop. So I've been like Singapore has been one of my several places for where I spent a lot of time for probably a couple of years now.
That makes sense. Well, my internet is fixed, so I'm gonna send you the challenge, and you should be able to see it in the Fog of War variant.
And I just accepted it.
Okay, awesome. So if you need a refresher on the rules for this variant, just feel free to ask at any point. I think you'll get the hang of it as soon as you attack any of my pieces.
Right. The squares that are white are the squares that I can see. Right, so.
The squares, yeah. So.
Yeah, the squares that are brighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so right now it's just the bottom half of the board, and that's because that's where my pawn's gonna go.
Exactly. And if you can't advance a pawn any further, then you'll also see it shaded.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this one, as I mentioned, I think you're gonna have higher chances also to win because it has a little bit of luck involved.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to guess what moves you're making.
Oh, you already made a move.
Yeah, I already made
Sorry,
a move. Sorry, your clock started.
I'm just used to like seeing something before making the other side making a move before I move if I'm black. But then I saw my time ticking down. I'm like, oh no, I lost a minute already.
Oh, I'm sorry. Usually
no
I can add time to clock because I have some admin stuff on here, but I can't in new variants. So.
Okay, interesting. So you did not do E2, E4.
Okay, well, now you just told me that you put your knight out. You just gave me information.
I see. I mean, technically, I could have put a pawn out.
That's true. That's true. You could have put a pawn to d5 also. But now I know you've done one of those.
The word could have does give it away though.
Sorry, say that again.
The fact that I just used the word could have does give away that I moved the knight though.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Well, now I have a very strong feeling that you did move your knight. Okay, now I may have confirmed that you move your knight. That's my one gift back. Okay, well now we're even. You know where my pieces. Have you tried chess variants before? I was curious which one your favorite is.
I've tried a 960. 960 is pretty fun.
Yeah, I guess you need to know a lot less theory, which kind of makes chess a little bit more fun when you're not just being super booked up on preparation. Let's see. Okay, so I have no idea what you did here. Okay.
No. When you say you have
$quarter
no idea,
20K
that
by
doesn't give
next
me
week.
information.
Sorry, I accidentally had a notification come up. What did you say?
Oh, it just said when you tell me you have no idea, that does give me information too.
That's true. That's true. I think I'm being too nice here.
This reminds me of those the math Olympiads I used to do in high school, and there's a lot of these weird logic puzzles. The fact that you know that someone else knows actually gives you all.
Right. And you don't expect it to be the case because it's not part of the actual game rules. Most people who play this variant aren't talking, but you have to be very careful. I guess I could try to throw you off. That gave me no information. So if I take it and he's protecting it, then I'm going to lose a piece. But I have no idea, chat, so we have to figure this out. It actually feels really weird to play a game that you've played for so long with slightly different rules because there's a chance something works and there's a chance I'm just going to lose if I try it. All right.
You did something.
I did something. Do you know what did it? Do you have any idea what it was? Am I wrong? Is it impossible for him to be protecting it? I'm not sure, chat. Okay.
That move sound is so fun because it sounds like the sound I'm used to for when you eat something but you haven't eaten anything yet.
It sounds like the sound of eating something?
Yeah, like when your piece eats one of mine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. It is very satisfying, actually. Let's see. Oh, no! Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that one.
Wait, what happened? Oh, did you just eat my king?
I did. So if you click Shift Alt F, then you can see where the pieces were. So,
Oh no! Wow.
so with move bishop a4, I was trying to figure out if you put your knight onto c6, and I thought you did because why else would you play e4? But I wasn't sure.
Oh, let's see.
So then when I took it and you took it, then I got very lucky and I could take your king.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think this one gets a little bit of getting used to. Do you want to try another one in this variant?
Sure.
Okay, I'll send you a rematch. So now I think you won't give your king.
Okay.
I guess there was no way for you to know, but it's just part of leaving your king exposed here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent you a rematch. Let me know if it shows through.
I see it. Rematch 1. Okay.
Okay.
My game is starting.
And you get the white side of the pieces, which I think actually gives you a big advantage in this variant. I haven't really figured it out yet, but... Alright. Well, that gave me no information. Chat, are we tricking him, or is it like poker where we're supposed to pretend he doesn't know? Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Do you play any poker, by the way?
Not too much.
Not too much, okay. I read that you used to play a lot of World of Warcraft in high school. Is that true, or is it like...
I did indeed do this.
Okay. And then you got too addicted, or what? You got upset that they changed your character?
Yeah, I got upset that they nerfed my character. That definitely contributed to me giving up.
Oh no. And I feel like a lot of crypto publications like tried to kind of create that into a story where it made you want something to be decentralized and immutable. Is that true, or is that the crypto community adapting
That
stories?
was a joke. Well,
Okay.
it's part of my bio on about.me, but that was I put that there as a joke. But I think a lot of the crypto media don't realize that it was a joke.
Yeah, when I read it, I thought, okay, I don't think that's why he actually turned to it, but it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go for this. Okay.
Okay.
I could maybe recapture that bishop. No, unfortunately, I had no idea that you played bishop e3 here. Okay, well you're up a piece here, so this is your best game so far.
Okay.
It's a little bit stressful.
This variant is definitely quite stressful.
It is. You have to remember quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like it though. It's kind of more of a fun variant than something like blindfold chess, and I like that it's very different than any other chess variant that I've tried, where basically all of them just are how good you are at chess. This one evens it out occasionally a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And one other strategy you could use in this variant is trying to figure out where the opponent's king is. The sooner the better, obviously, since you can take it as opposed to regular chess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out where your king is, to no avail yet. I have a guess where your king is, though, in case that intimidates you a little bit. Chat, do we think he's there? I'm already down a bishop, so we have to be a little bit careful. We'll be a little bit careful. We don't want to disrupt him while he's thinking, so I'm going to stay muted. Okay, so we know he doesn't have any pawn on the e-file. I have no idea what he just played. He could be attacking my knight. I don't know if we want to take his bishop here. It's weird how uncomfortable I feel guessing the right moves here. Okay, let's see what happens. Maybe he castled queenside? I feel like he must have castled queenside because his rook is here. Okay, so now we know where his king is. I think his king is over here. Let's see. I should have paid a little bit more attention. How confident are you feeling in this game? Do you feel like you got this one? Too modest, too objective. I feel like often when people play chess, they like, you know, just joking around a little bit.
They do. Well, let's see. This is now the problem with this style is that like you feel really confident until you don't.
Right. No, that's fair enough. I don't know if you know where my king is, but I guess you might. I'm actually getting a bit nervous. I'm going to be more focused. I don't want to lose.
I think okay, I think I actually...
Okay, so we're still down a piece, and he's playing very well. He's playing very well. I don't... now he knows where my bishop is. This is unfortunate. I think I'm giving you too much information about where my pieces are, and you're just not forgetting. Are you using any tools to remember where the pieces are? So for example, you can right click if you want to have a square circled, but I'm sure you could also just keep them in your head, so.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
Plenty of time so far.
Yes.
Okay, chat, I have to not get... Come on. Maybe he's not going to see it. Maybe he's not going to see it. Holy smokes, Jan. Are you kidding me? That's a crazy dono. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. You're not gonna like what I did here. I'm not playing for cheap tricks, but I had to.
Okay, what just... Okay,
Shift
okay.
Alt F to see where the pieces are.
Hold on. Wait, what? How does... No, Shift Alt F opens something weird in the browser.
Shift Alt F opens something weird?
Yeah, oh, it opens the file tab in my browser.
Oh. In the Fog of War chat to the right, does it tell you a command to get rid of where the pieces are?
Press Shift Alt F.
Oh. Well, I could potentially also just share my screen.
Oh. No. If...
Let me...
Okay, wait. Oh, I see what happened. Oh, okay, yeah, the queen was on the diagonal.
Yeah, so I knew that your king was on C1, just because your rook was on D1, so there's no, like, I thought it, I guess technically you could have moved your other rook there, but it seemed very unlikely, so I thought you castled, which made me think your king was there.
Right. I think you tricked me. I thought your king was on the other side because I remember um, when I saw into the other side of your H rank a bit, I didn't see a king there, but the C square I did not see it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was hoping that you might not know where my king is castled, and also with my move of moving my rook from. Actually, if the notation said rook h to e8, I guess technically you would have known that I castled on the other side, but I didn't even think of that until now. I guess the notation is actually very useful in this variant because you can figure out what side of the board the pieces came from.
Right.
But I don't know how much you like this one. I just thought it was a little bit interesting.
It is fun.
How are you feeling? Do you want to do a regular one or a variant? You tell me. It's honestly just really cool to be able to play. So whatever preference you
Okay,
have.
we'll do one more regular one, I guess.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Let me switch. All right. Do you want to do the longer time control? So 10-2?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna send you a challenge.
Um,
Okay. All right. I sent you a rematch, or I can start it automatically if that's easier.
I guess started automatically. I don't see the rematch button.
Sounds good. I'm doing it right now. Just make sure you're out of the browser that is in the Fog of War variants.
Oh, so should I like go back to chess.com or
Yeah,
oh wait,
chess.com
no, oh I
slash
see
live.
/live. Okay, I see
Yeah,
it.
perfect.
And okay, I'm in the analysis board now, and then
And do you see the
um,
game that started now?
the one where you're at 9:52 and counting down.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good luck. I'm gonna
Okay.
go with D4. I'm mostly a D4 player here.
Hmm.
Okay, Queen's Pawn. What do you like playing more against, C4 or the London?
I've I don't know. You choose.
Okay, I'm gonna play Bishop F4. I really like playing the London in rapid time controls just because I think it's a system that is very easy to play. You don't have to know as much theory.
Okay, so you're threatening there, and I'll go here.
Okay, I'll play Knight F3. Bishop D6. Okay, cool. So you're gonna go for one of those lines where I trade off a lot of my pieces. Let's see. Now, let's see. I'm gonna just make a defensive move for now and hold your knight from coming to b4, and then we'll see how I deal with the fact that you have so much control in the center here.
Mhm.
Here.
Okay. Um, your next move should go there. See, and then your next move, you are actually threatening the king going to that c square, which actually would be a mate if I have no way of leaving it. Okay.
It's a tough time for your king here. I'm not gonna lie.
And if I
Okay. So you're making the c6 square available for your king. So if I take on d4, okay, I'm gonna take on d4 and then I will do a discovery check here to also put pressure on your rook.
no, now you actually did basically kill my rook. Okay.
I appreciate the gift back. You know, I gave you a rook on f1, now you're giving the one on d7. All is well in the world. And you gotta give your king some credit because I really thought it was the end of the road and he has just done a world tour around this board. He's not giving up very easily. Well, that was that was a nice ending. I think, as I mentioned, I think you can go back to your move g5 on move 9 because you're playing such good openings, and then I think you got a little bit trigger happy here with g5. You're just ready to get the pawns rolling.
No, I was just. Let's see. Where was I? Well, what should I have done here? Okay, forward. Okay, so you had my knight, and I didn't even see the queen threat. Let's see. What should I have done?
Instead of g5, right?
Pawn h5. Let's see what that would have done. That would have covered the queen. That covered the square from the queen, and your knight wasn't actually threatening anything. Okay, that would have been better.
Yeah, h5 would have already been an improvement. I'd also say that in these positions where you have your pawn on d5 and f5, it's usually called a stonewall structure, and it's really good at keeping the position closed and potentially going for f4 in the future. So you could have even castled here and just hold your center for now.
What, here?
Yeah, on move 9 instead of
but if
g5.
but if I castle here, that's I would have like forced my square to the side of where my pawns were much weaker.
So if you would have castled, then what move in particular would be scary here?
Okay, so here I castle, and now my king is on G. So then, what would you do? I guess. So one thing you could do is you would still queen h5, and then you'd be setting yourself up for.
Oh, okay. So I think I said the move order wrong. I'm gonna just invite you to the board to make sure I'm talking about the same one. One second. Let me know if you saw the invitation.
I am okay. I'm on the analysis board.
Okay, cool. And you see the position here before g5. Yeah. Okay, great. So here you play g5, and my suggestion was if you castled, and basically your idea is to push something like f4 in the future instead.
Right. Okay. No, my move. Right, pawn g5 was a little too galaxy brain because I didn't see the taking the defense out. Okay.
Galaxy brain, exactly. That also sounds like a Twitch term. I don't know if you guys also use it in the crypto community.
We do.
But g5 is definitely an aggressive galaxy brain move. But yeah, if you would have castled, again, you're playing these great openings, and then I think it's the moves that you play very quickly, because I think you move this in like less than 10 seconds, that are just not as concrete, because the rest of the opening was great. I think you've been getting better opening positions than I expected you to. But it's okay. It happens.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you trying out these games, and sorry if my internet has been a little bit odd today.
Oh, like your internet's been great. I could hear you totally fine.
Well, that's all that matters. And I don't know if you saw any of the chat, but they have some very funny comments. When my internet turned off, they were joking that I didn't pay enough for the gas or something.
Uh-huh.
So we got some comedians who are out here watching. So I know you're super busy and I don't want to distract too much. So I really appreciate the games. If there's like any like chess stuff that you have questions on or anything like that or stuff you wanted to try, I'm happy to go over that. If not, I don't want to keep you away from working on Ethereum 2.0, you know?
So I just wants to kind of just think through this one a little bit more. And then okay. So let's see. So instead of g5, you suggested that I could have castled. No, so my other long-term plan here was actually to see if I could have done like actually castled on the correct side and gotten both my rooks out.
On the correct side, so do you mean castling on the queen side or on the king side?
Yes, sorry, on the side where I have the pawns are still lined up and defending me well.
Okay, so you wanted to castle queen side. So then was your other consideration something like bishop d7?
Yeah.
I like bishop d7. I think regardless which side you castle, if you want to just go for a waiting move that's also developing, bishop d7 makes a lot of sense. The only move that you always have to consider that I'm going to play is c4, because as soon as you have these pawns in the center, I want to put one of my pawns that's on the periphery, so like on the c file, to try to challenge you in the center here.
Oh, interesting. I guess if I had done that move, my objective would not even be to eat d5. It would just be to push forward and just get my queen out of that diagonal.
Okay, so if I played c4, what would you go for here?
Let's see. What would I go for here? I would let's see. What would I even do? If I assumed, so I'm not too worried about taking d5 because I can just grab that with my own pawn. But that move, okay, so let's see. b6 would be one of my defenses there.
Okay, so playing b6 right away so that I don't have c5?
Yeah. But then the problem is that if you push forward, I take, and then you take with your pawn. Oh no, but then I'd still. Okay.
Yeah, so if I take, then you're going to be winning a pawn here. So actually, b6 is a good move for trying to deter c5. I think what you have to be careful about here is if we're looking at this position, even before you play bishop d7, in terms of strategic planning here, if I'm going to push my pawns on any side, I'm not going to push them in front of my king. So I'm probably going to push them in front of my queen side, which is going to mean that I'm going for like c4, b4. So you want to take that into account. And one risk you have of castling queen side is you're going right into what my plan is.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does.
So you could still, I think bishop d7 regardless is a move you could play at any point, and then c4, b6 with your idea to prevent c5. But then my question would be, what if I just continue pushing b4? Do you feel comfortable castling on the queen side here?
Definitely less so.
Right, when you have these three pawns, it's a little bit more intimidating.
Yeah, indeed. Like, no, the reason I wanted the queen side is so I could have my two rooks and my queen attacking your corner. But then the problem is that you're pushing straight in and you've got your two rooks and your queen.
Yeah, but I guess that's part of the fun in playing any kind of position where you castle opposite side. That's usually what it takes. If you are considering castling opposite side, then what you really want to think about is timing and who's going to get the attack first. But here I already have 3 pawns on the 4th rank, and I guess technically you have 2, but only 1 on the side where my king is. So my attack seems like it's coming faster.
Okay, right, I see. So then I'd probably go start.
You could be like Alpha Zero. Alpha Zero never castles the king. It often keeps it in the center of the board and it just pushes pawns. Honestly, I don't really understand Alpha Zero, and I don't know if anyone other than Magnus Carlsen or the top players do, but that's something you often see. So
No, I mean, one reason why I might not castle is to just keep giving myself the choice of going both directions. But the problem is that in the meantime, I still end up in the middle, and often you can do something clever and check me, and then I have to like give up the ability to castle at all.
yeah, but I do like H5 much better than G5. At least G5 didn't fall into these tactics, and here it's still pretty complicated for me. Maybe I try something like C5.
Right, in which case I can... Okay, actually I have two choices here. So first of all, because you have two pawns defending C5, if I take, then you would take, and then I'd have to move out of the diagonal anyway. And at the same time, it would just open me up here to attack. But or is that not that bad if I just no? Because the other thing I could do is just move the rook over, and then
So after Queen E7, where would you move your rook?
B8.
B8. Yeah. So let's say I play Queen C2, you play Rook B8, something like this. Yeah, I think this is actually an interesting plan. The only thing you have to be careful about here is what you've already noticed, the fact that your king is in the center. Because now if you are ever forced to castle, well, you also pushed your kingside pawns a little bit too forward. But you're actually not in immediate danger because the position is so close. So this is definitely better than what ended up happening.
Right. So I guess in this position, my plan would even be for the king not to castle because the middle is reasonably safe.
The only issue is when you castle your king, then you also end up connecting your two rooks. So here, normally, if you're castled, your king would be on G8, your rook would be on F8, so you'd be protecting B8. And because that's not the case, if you take B1, then you give me the open file, which is super dangerous. So actually, I think here, if you don't castle, you're in very big trouble. But then if you castle, you pushed H5, which is going to end up becoming a weakness, since it's not going to help you attack. So even though it's less exciting, probably, and I'll come right back to this position, but I think the best thing to do would just to not be to push H5 right away, because H5 you don't really have a plan with it. It looks good and aggressive, but even if you go something like H4 G3, I can block it up pretty easily, and then your king is stuck in the center of the board with no safe place to castle. So. Unless there's some kind of tactic and pushing the pawns on the king side makes sense, usually it's just going to give you peace of mind to castle, or you might end up in positions like this where you castle later and now you have to deal with a weak pawn structure in front of your king. But this is still playable, and honestly, I'm not sure what the computer would evaluate this at, but I'm sure it's playable from both sides. Since the position is so closed, your pawns aren't as weak as they'd usually be.
Let's see, how would I play from here? I guess. Well, you're. Oh no, actually no. The queen is properly defending G5 now, which is interesting. So I could even start pushing that pawn up and then just attack with all three pawns.
I love how you can't help the urge to push the pawns on the king side there. I think it's fair to try to go for something like G5. It's super risky, but you know, in like a 10-minute variant where it's hard to defend, I don't think that G5 loses anything. So for example, let's say I make a waiting move like A4, and then you push G5 here. This actually looks pretty good because even if I take your knight, then you're still protected.
Yeah. And then my plan would be to threaten G4 and then force your knight somewhere else.
Right. And here, I actually don't know. I guess what white could try to go for is just trying to play on the queen side. So maybe something like trading off here.
Right.
And then probably rook b1 is needed.
Okay, so in this case, should I trade or should I retreat from the file?
So retreating from the file is usually a bad idea unless there's no other option. So often you see people trading or just leave your rook there and take with the knight. Because if you retreat from the open file, let's say something like rook f8, then you're gonna have to be careful about the b7 square in the future. Because I'm going to be
Right.
putting pressure on a7 and on c7, and then you might have to waste a tempo bringing your rook back. So you usually don't want to give up the open file.
Okay, right. So in this case, and I'll just use the move and I'll attack the knight.
Oh, so you go for like g4?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, don't bother with moving the, doing anything with the rooks. Just
Yeah, I like this plan. And I guess here, if I take your rook, what would you go for?
just take it back with the knight.
Yeah, just take it back, and you're not too concerned here. So let's say that I move my knight back to e1.
Okay, so now I need to figure out what my next step in this diabolical plan is.
Yeah, your evil villain plan to win here. Honestly, this is a super complicated position. I'm not even sure who is better. Probably because both sides have a ton of play, but it's hard when it's a close position because you don't really go for tactics. It's just slow play, slight improvements on where your pieces are.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the problem is if I start pushing my pawns forward, then you can generally defend. Like, if I do say
Hmm.
h4, and then whichever one of those I push forward, you can just push the other one forward.
Right. So if you play h3, then I could go for g3. If you play for something like g3, that's a little bit more complicated, but I'm guessing I could play f3. And then
Right. Though the thing that I could, if you do g3, then f3, then I would do h2 and check, so you'd have to respond to that first,
yeah.
and then yeah,
And
and
then
then I might have something. I don't know.
yeah, I guess you can try that line. So let's say I trade the rook. Um I could play queen b2, which would be annoying and it would put pressure on your knight, but let's just say I play a5 instead so that you can try your plan on the king side. I think you were looking at g3. And then if I play f3, sorry, accident. You actually have a lot of options here. This one was probably my favorite. I was also looking at knight takes d2 first, but I have to reply right away, and then you can take care of
The
your
problem
king.
with the reason I don't like trading knights is because I feel like my knight has power, but your knight doesn't really have as much power.
I think that's fair. The qualitative value of your piece here is much better because once you move your knight, my knight on d2 doesn't have a lot of places to go.
Okay, I'll just have to think carefully through this one. Right. So one option I would have is let's see. So I have to use my knight, otherwise I lose it.
Right.
So one option is like I'm going to f2 and then set up in two moves to try to move my queen into position.
So if you go to f2, where can your knight escape from there?
Right, it has no escape.
Exactly. So you're
If you
trapping it.
move right, so I think the most realistic. Well, I want to say the most realistic thing is to trade, but the problem is that if we, no, but your pawn is really well defended already, so it might be the least bad option anyway. The other option is g3, but that blocks off my attack.
Yeah, g3 looks interesting, but then I agree with you. Maybe your queen could have some hopes of getting to g3 instead.
Right, because if I trade and then you trade back, then I'm actually one step away.
Right. And here maybe I have to play queen f2 just to take care of this threat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but here
But
I
then
think
the
you have a
problem,
very tricky move actually. See if you can find it. It's like a mix of strategy and tactics. You don't win right away, but it gives you very good chances.
Let's see. Pawn f4.
Yes, yeah, perfect. Okay, you found that really quickly. Yeah, f4 I think actually makes the position better for you, because it's ruining my pawn chain. So you're attacking my base pawn, and if I take on f4, and I guess
I can take the pawn and check you.
yeah, yeah. So queen takes f4, and let's say I move my king back to g1. I think you're already getting the edge a little bit here. I'm very defensive, and my queen is tied into d4. Your queen is a lot more active than mine. I don't know if it's enough to be winning here since it's still even, but if I had to pick a side, I would pick black side here.
Trying to think what's the next thing I would do here. I think trading the queens would probably be a bad idea. It would just sacrifice my advantage. One thing I could do is go e5 and then open the door to my bishop somehow.
Yeah, I really
Right.
like the idea of opening up your bishop here. And e5 in particular is interesting. I think the only question is if you push e5 and pawn takes, if your queen takes on d5, then you're not protecting h4
Well,
anymore.
I have no plan to protect against the pawn. The plan would be to go for a quick attack.
Okay, so you would sacrifice the poor little pawn on h4 in exchange for some kind of attack.
Wait, what? No, why would I sacrifice h4? I'm sacrificing e5.
Oh, I was saying, so if you push e5 and I take, oh, you're not taking e5 back, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that works if you want to sacrifice this pawn instead. I just wonder if you have enough pieces for the attack here, because the knight on b8 is very far away from everything, and the bishop is
Right.
helpful, but maybe not enough. And I always feel guilty saying these things with any kind of like chess position, because I feel like it doesn't do justice to chess, because positions can be so complicated where sometimes there's just no way to win. Just give yourself best chances. So I don't know if this one is the best chance, but
Right. Okay.
But,
so
but
the
let's
thing,
say, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the one thing I could do here is go h3 and then trade it for a bishop. But then if we do that, then your next move. Oh, interesting. Actually, those squares are both like the thing I would try to do in your position is I would just try to grab the advantage by checking my king, but it looks like I've taken all those spots.
Right. Yeah. So I can't do any check here.
The thing you could do is okay. So if you defend with the knight, then I could just jump all the way over to c1. But then you defend with your. Oh no, you do that instead.
I could also play bishop f1. I think both ideas work actually.
Oh right, because I was going to say your bishop is pinned, but if I attack your knight, you could just take back with the queen.
Right. This is definitely an interesting variation. Because my all of my pieces are stuck defending my king, so I wonder if you can use this to go get a pawn back. But the only issue with having played e5 is now you're down a pawn.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see if I do this.
So I'm not sure if you made a move because I can't see it. Is it after bishop f1?
It is after bishop f1. Yes, I moved to d4.
Okay. So pawn to d4. If you move pawn to d4, can I take it? Because
no, you can't, because I take your knight at. Oh crap! Right, you can just take your.
Yeah, the king. I have too many pieces defending. Otherwise, this would work. You almost eliminated my defender.
But actually, hold on. Let's just try something quickly. What happened? Can we just play that through?
Yeah.
So d4, queen.
Okay.
Take,
King
take,
takes.
Take. G5 check.
All right, and I'll just run away.
Oh no, I can't do H4 because then you just eat me. But let's say H5 check.
And let's just move my king back.
And then, oh, I see. Okay, so we don't even have an opportunity for a good infinite check here.
Right, it's for some kind of perpetual.
Okay, what if I just do that?
There's actually a tactic here. Try to see if you can find it. White has a move that's basically winning in 2.
Okay, from
Right
this
after
position?
knight c6. Yep.
Okay. Oh, winning in 2. Interesting.
Not checkmate, but you just win material.
Step 1 might be, let's see, bishop c4 check.
Okay.
And then you'd have to react somewhere.
Okay, let's say king h8.
Right. Okay. No, king h8 is that's actually good for that actually I think protects you. So okay, it's not that.
Okay, I'll just go back. I actually, for what it's worth, I think bishop c4, king h8, and e6 also looks... Actually, that's a free queen. I'm kidding. Okay, so no, not that line. Sorry.
What if we do as white? You go there and basically force a trade because you're up 2 pawns.
I'm guessing you meant g4?
A g4, yeah.
I think queen g4 is likely a winning endgame. The only issue is that you're also losing a pawn at the end of this. So
Yes.
this is a little bit risky, and you're giving black chances to draw here. So you have something even better.
Right.
But the idea of trading queens when you're up material is correct in general.
Okay, let's see. What else can I do here? It has to be clearly a queen move because black is threatening the queen. Oh, I can just fork.
Yes. Where?
D5.
Perfect. Yeah. So d5, and you're forking the knight and the king here. So that is what you have to be careful with the knight. Even if you move it to c6 or if you leave it, you have to be careful because d8 is still a threat that white is going for here.
Right. Yeah, it's leaving pieces undefended is as dangerous in this kind of endgame as it is in Fog of War.
Yeah, Fog of War just is a little bit more anxiety-inducing, I think. So I'm just gonna go back really quick because I think all of this, honestly, I still kind of like your d5 idea. I just think that if you go for it, you don't want to trade pieces until you've won your pawn back, if that makes sense. Because as soon as you start trading, if you ever trade your bishop, then all of a sudden the only pieces you have for the attack are your queen and your knight, which your knight looks like it's setting up for the next game. So that guy has a long way to go.
Right.
But the bishop is super powerful here. So this I find interesting. It's just...
Okay. Let's see. What can I do here? Like, what if... no, I can't... I can't double threaten your knight because you already got a piece defending the knight.
Yeah, so you actually have a way to get some material back in this position.
I can eat the e5.
Yeah, perfect. So you can take on e5, and now you basically just found a way to have freed your bishop and get the material back. So I think this is black's best chance. The only thing is, in this kind of endgame with both kings so exposed, the idea you went for earlier with keeping the king in infinite check seems like it's very likely to happen. So I would think this is most likely to be a draw, but sometimes you could be tricky.
Right, okay, so then my next plan after this would probably be a pawn going to d4, which would simultaneously open up my queen to take your pawn while preventing you from defending it.
Yeah, actually, queen d4 is a really good move here. Like for example, say something I play something really passive, and you make a move like d4. Then it seems very hard to protect c5 unless maybe queen c2.
And if you do queen c2, one approach I have is to just chase the queen.
Okay. Unfortunately, you got to be careful about those forks here. So with your king and knight so exposed, I have ideas like b3 and checking both of you.
Right.
But if your king was on h8, then the idea of chasing the queen away from attacking the c5 pawn would have made a lot of sense.
Right. Okay. So your move there does actually threaten. So the thing I could do instead, I don't think you have a way to fork these two.
These two being the...
Oh, sorry. I mean, I moved my knight to c6.
Oh, okay. For some reason, an analysis board, it doesn't show when the person who's observing moves it. Okay, so yeah, knight c6. Oh my gosh, I know you like forks, right? With Ethereum and whatnot. So try to find the other fork here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. I'm very fork happy.
There you go. So knight c6 also doesn't work for that reason, and it's part of what's really tricky with endgames, where when the position is so open, you just have to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right, I know. The king is just my king is worse than yours because I've just it's attackable from every angle.
Right. So maybe if you can find somewhere where you can put your king so that it's not going to fall prey to forks in the future, that would be helpful here.
Oh, I see. The problem is that you're threatening a fork on the next move. Okay, so I think this is my best chance.
And just tell me the move you played so I can put it on the board also.
Yeah, f8 is my best chance.
f8? I think king f8 makes sense. You're putting your king on a dark square. I think g7 and h8 and f8 were all good options here. And here, this is a game that if you would prefer any side, the reason you want black is because you have a passed pawn. So I think it's harder to play this from white's point of view. So let's say that your opponent isn't playing perfectly accurately, because if they do, then it'll be a draw. So let's say they play something like king h1. What kind of plans can you continue with here now that your king is safe from forks?
I can... One option is just keep moving the king closer to the right so that it can attack those pawns. The other option is knight to a6 immediately to try to pressure a double attack on the pawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same as knight d7, knight c6, they both put pressure on c5.
Right. And I guess knight d7 is better because it's a little more central.
Yeah, I like knight d7 a lot because you fix the problem that was caused.
The other nice thing about knight d7 is that it's like it's resilient against being forked because when the knight and the king are 2 squares away, you can generally respond to a fork by moving the king beside the knight.
I've never heard anyone explain it like that before, but that's a very true statement. Interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now I can't check your king and your knight at the same time. So let's say, what can white even go for? I don't know. Can I try to protect this pawn? I guess I have to go for c6.
You just push it forward, yeah. Yep. Which is a decent move. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's my only move. Otherwise, I lose a pawn. So I'm happy to go for it. But unfortunately, now your knight that wasn't doing anything before all of a sudden is getting a lot more active.
Yes. Okay. How about I move the knight to f6?
Okay, knight f6. So now you are attacking my pawn on a5. So I guess what I have to try to do is keep your queen from taking a5. So I could protect it. I could make a move like queen d2, which is probably the most basic move here, and just defend my pawn.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And before you say a move, so what would you say black's plan is here, or what is black's advantage generally in this position?
Black has a central pawn that it
Mm-hmm.
can look to promote, and so white has to put a lot of resources into defending against it.
Mm-hmm. That's one.
Yeah, and then the other, let's see, the other one is that what Black's king is is a bit closer to the action at this point.
Yep. And then there's one more I'd probably mention. So you're two out
So
of three so far. And it's related to the pieces, not the pawns.
hmm. And your knight's kind of stuck.
Yeah, my knight is stuck. My bishop is stuck. So basically, your knight and your bishop, even if they're worth the same point value, in this position, they're qualitatively worth a lot more than mine because they're more active. So you got your pawn, your king, and then the activity of your pieces.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess so. One game plan that I could have here is I could just solely move my king over closer to the pawns, and just use the pawns to take the king. Another
Okay.
game plan I could have. Oh, here's a fun one. Queen to d5 and then threaten two pawns.
Okay, so going for the tactical stuff here, Queen D5. Queen D5 looks good. My only concern, I wonder if Queen D5, if Knight F4 works. I guess maybe you have a check here, so you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because there would be that fork otherwise. Oh, and there's
Yep.
one more thing you have to be careful about, and that's the move Queen H6 check.
Right. Which, right, it forks the king and the bishop, which is not the nicest thing that you can do.
No, not very nice. We're doing a lot of forks in this
And
open
actually,
position.
it's something that my king is vulnerable to now. Okay, so let's try my other game plan, where my other game plan is moving the knight over here.
Okay,
Or sorry, moving the king to e7, I
right.
meant.
So here you're trying to get your king to the pawn. And basically, if the queens were traded off the board, who would be better in this position?
I think black by a significant margin because black's king really can just move over and grab both of those white pawns in 4 moves.
Right. So if you somehow manage to trade queens in this endgame, then you're just winning because of the fact that your king is so much more active. So I can't make any moves that trade off my queen. So I guess the most annoying thing that white can try to do here, since my pieces are so stuck, is just try to push your king backwards with this check.
I can respond to that by just offering the trade.
Right.
So d6.
Right. And if I take, I'm pretty sure I lose. So I can't do that because you're just going to take all of the pawns. So let's say instead, I mean,
You have to do something with your queen, and if you want to make me waste time, you can check at e1.
I do like that. Let's make you waste time. I'm gonna play Queen E1 because at this point, if you want to repeat the position, I'm happy to take a draw.
Right. So, and the problem is that all of my moves, other than repeating a position, I have one that doesn't repeat a position. Bishop to e6.
Bishop to E6. I actually really like that move. It feels a little bit counterintuitive at first because you are putting so much pressure. But it's nice because now I have no more checks and your king is basically all of your pieces except for your pawn is defended. Okay, so I think I have to be careful. I don't want to give you this pawn for free, so let's just say I play Queen C1 to defend it.
One option I have is to just press the d pawn.
Yep.
See what other options I have.
So this is option 1, D3.
Option 2 is bishop to d5.
Yeah, I think that was the most intuitive one. Just after d3. D3 is also super intuitive just because it puts pressure on both.
The problem with d3 followed by bishop to d5 is that you can eat my pawn.
True. So your pawn on d3, I can attack after. I guess if I attack your pawn, then I'm also going to lose one, but you're trading, so that's one thing you can consider. And I guess after bishop d5, maybe I can just try to check you again.
Right, okay, so let's say I do bishop d5 and then you check me.
Okay, so let's say I check. Which I think
Then,
makes a lot of intuitive sense, because you're attacking all my pawns and I need to try something.
right, then I would defend against the check, queen e6.
Makes sense, because you know I'm not allowed to trade your queen here. So now you're attacking my pawn twice. I can't do anything about it. So probably my best option would be to try to grab your d pawn. So let's say I go for, but oh man, you're attacking f3 also. So I'm gonna lose some pawns here. Okay, I'm gonna say queen f2.
Okay, so now trying to think what clever things I have in store. I'm gonna instinctively I would move toward queen c6 so that I take that pawn, and I simultaneously threaten the next one.
Yeah, queen takes c6 makes a lot of sense. So you just gobbled up a pawn,
And
and
then you gobble up mine, and probably the most threatening one of mine. And
yeah, for
then
sure. Because now I'm putting pressure on a7 also.
right. Okay, so then what happens if we do make the pawn trade?
Okay,
Actually,
so
do we have? Oh, should I forward? Okay, I did that. Right, then you would take the pawn. Okay.
and now it looks like my king might actually start getting in danger because now you don't really have too many scary checks. I feel like your king can escape. My queen is far away, and your knight is coming closer to the king.
True. And then I think if I wanted to, I could. If I wanted to force a draw, I could, because I could do bishop g2 and then you take with your bishop, and then I would just have like queen alternate between c1 and h6.
Yeah. If you want to draw here, you could just offer it. White would take it and be happy for the next week. But yeah, this is a way to force it, and actually that's a really good perpetual to spot. I guess maybe there's like queen g1 doesn't even work, because then you could still keep repeating that. So that perpetual makes sense. If you want the draw, it's there.
Okay, but let's see if there's something more fun than a draw here. I guess one of the biggest worries in this position is that you have a pawn that's already on the 5th row, and so it's pretty scarily close to being a promotion.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
So my strategy of having a pawn promoted is basically broken, but one piece of good news is that your queen is kind of off in a corner and not in a very good place. So how about
And I'd also add, in chess, you're always kind of trading what advantage you had. So before you had that passed pawn and piece activity, and now what advantage does black have?
Well, I was thinking of moving knight. Well, basically, I have a lot of pressure on that diagonal on your king.
Yeah. So my king safety is worse than your king safety.
Yeah. So what if I do knight to g4?
And what would your idea be after knight g4?
I have two possibilities. One is just directly check, but that doesn't necessarily lead very far. The other option I have is actually no, I can't. I can't do e3 because your queen can just take e3. But the other thing I could do is, hold on. Okay, knight
take your time.
Okay, knight g4, then queen to h6. Check.
Yes.
Okay. And then I would be threatening, and then you'd move back, and then I would do queen to h2, and that's almost a mate. No, that is a mate.
That is a mate. That is a checkmate that I
Okay.
cannot do anything about. So knight g4 is actually a terrifying move because now what you just showed is the checkmate in 2 threat, which I actually don't know how, if even I can stop. I mean, I guess because what happens if I move my king to g1? I think this is my best shot to try to run away.
Mm-hmm. So what if I do? Okay, hold on. If I do queen to d6, and then I basically would threaten, I think, the exact same maiden one.
Right.
Right. So, do you even have defenses against that?
Honestly, I don't think there's any defense. I'm trying to find one. The problem is, if I move my bishop to make space for my king on f1, well, I need to defend the knight on g2. So I actually don't know what I would play after queen d6. Of course, we're analyzing this game, so I'm going to pretend we're on the same side here. Because I wouldn't want to play with white's side of the pieces here. Seems
No, and your queen can't
impossible.
do anything, and even you can't even check me on the e-file because the knight also closed that off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I really want the game to last, I'd probably just give up my queen to distract you away. And if you don't take it, then I could play queen h6 and give my queen again. No, queen f4. Sorry.
Well, I have to take it because I'm in check.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking. So I have to
Okay,
give
let's
away
do
my
that.
queen, and then here you're just completely winning, and it's over. But
And then, actually, is that a checkmate? Yeah, it's a checkmate.
or
no, almost.
not quite, not quite.
Right, because you can do that,
Mm-hmm.
and then. All right. I mean, right. I lost your queen, and so I guess they're just trade pieces.
And here you should be able to win this game.
Right. And
I'll let
here
you finish
here
this game off.
4. Yeah. Okay.
Don't go for a stalemate. Don't go for a draw.
No, I'm not doing that. I was just removing this annoying thing, and then I could promote a pawn.
Yeah, actually, here I would resign. I don't think there's any way to save it.
Mhm.
But that was actually a very clean end. Yeah, I would resign here. I'm more than sure that you'd be able to win this game very easily. But that was
By the
actually.
way, I forget. Theoretically, is it possible for just a queen to checkmate against a bishop?
Yeah, with a queen and king versus king and bishop, you can win. Basically, you can put the white pieces in a position where anything they do is wrong, or the bishop is far away enough from the king that you could fork.
Right.
Yeah. But it's much more tricky. It's much more tricky. So here you don't even have to worry about it because you also have that extra pawn that's going to promote. But this was a very clean game, actually. So I would resign here. This endgame is won. But I'm happy to play it out if you want to try it.
Let's see. What can we do here? Yeah, pawn forward, c4.
Like, the only way I would trick you here is if you somehow blunder your pawn, and then I try to save it with a king and a bishop.
Right. Okay, pawn to b3, a c3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you would do that. Interesting.
Just
Right.
the
Yeah,
most
you're correct.
resistance I can give here.
Okay, so then queen to c5.
And I'll block because otherwise you're just going to promote.
Indeed. This is definitely a good position for you to be in.
Wait, this is a good position for me to be in.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm happy to switch if you think so.
Okay, let's queen d4. No, this is a valiant defense. I mean, I don't know, and valiant defenses are important, especially in timed games. There's definitely been timed games that I've won when I'm like 24 pawns down.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if there was time pressure, I would always play. This is a game where you don't resign because you play until the last chance, right? Because yeah, if it's bishop and king versus queen and king, I have some chances, not good ones, but you know. Yeah, and here I have to sack, and now it's over.
Right.
So I can't resign in a analysis game, but this one's definitely a resignation.
Right. And this is
I feel like part of you wants the satisfaction of the checkmate.
I can just I mean, when I play the timed ones, I do just often end up. Well, the other big challenge a lot of the time is just making sure you don't get stalemated. Okay, right. This is the position where it's just really clean and easy to.
Yeah, exactly. This is one where even if you have 10 seconds on the clock, you could probably just because you know where your king needs to be.
Yeah, I've no. Once it, again, when this has happened to me, there's times when I lost when the other side even had like 3 seconds on the clock.
Oh no,
So
you lost as what side of the pieces?
I lost as a white in this case.
Right, because they need so little time to pull this off.
Yeah.
Well, that
No,
was a really good endgame actually until here. I think it's interesting how when we played the longer time, or when we were analyzing without time pressure, I think your calculations got a lot better when you're more patient with it.
Probably true.
Which is true for everyone. It's not just for you. I guess I'm giving an observation that often rings true.
Right. No.
But so,
you're not the first person to say this. So
in chess or otherwise?
Well, mostly in chess, but I guess.
Okay, mostly in chess. Yeah, I mean, I get told the same thing too. Sometimes I get too excited in like rapid time controls because since you already won this game and solved it, I'm just gonna go back really quick. Because when you're playing something like 60-second chess, I know we were joking a little bit about hyperbullet, but these types of moves are very tempting because if your opponent doesn't have time to figure it out, it can be really intimidating as soon as you get g4.
Right.
So that was kind of the style you were giving off here.
Right. No, and I played a bit of bullet. Bullet's interesting because the strategy is really different because you can often trade off pieces for time.
Yeah.
The thing I discovered is that like most of my games would be games where I win on time when I'm down at least 5 or 10 pawns.
5 or 10 pawns in bullet? Wow. Okay, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I usually really like flagging in bullet also, but I don't get away with such big piece disparities. I thought you said you didn't like hyperbullet. What got you in the mood?
Well, so actually Jing was really into bullet, and so I figured I would try some as well.
And who's better between you and Jing in bullet?
I don't think we've ever played bullet against each other.
Oh, interesting. You guys should give it a shot. And for those of you listening, Jing is actually our mutual friend, and she's the one who was told to play chess instead of Candy Crush, and now she ended up being really good for how little she's played. Just so that people have context. You guys should play bullet and let me know who ends up winning.
Okay, we'll do that.
Well, thank you so much for the games today. These were really fun. And
yeah, thank you. This was very fun and very, very educational too.
Yeah, I think some people were joking that like, oh, make sure Vitalik doesn't play chess. He should be working on Ethereum 2.0. And you know what? I think it's nice to have breaks, and chess is one of those that keeps your brain working regardless. So, just a slight jab back at the trolls.
Meanwhile, Ethereum 2.0 was very close to launching on its own. Just need a whole bunch more people to stake. So
I was actually gonna joke that if you beat me at chess, I would stake 32 Ethereum, but then I looked it up to make sure that you actually get it back and that you can gain something after. Mm-hmm. Just to get the incentives aligned there.
Yeah.
But
if you want to stake, then you're always welcome to.
And anybody listening, if you guys want to stake your Ethereum as well, make it happen. I think I saw it was over 50% of what's needed has been staked so far, right?
It is. It's over 55% now. It looks like it got up another few thousand while we've been playing.
Oh, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. People are asking steaks, and they spelled it Steaks. Yes,
No.
chat. Medium rare
Steaks
steaks.
selling are a Bitcoin thing.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. And
I know.
I saw that you were trying to get Ethereum 2.0 by December 1st, right? Do you think it's going to be moved back a little bit?
Again, basically, well, it'll launch whenever this number hits 524,000 plus another 1 week after that. So it's not even up to me at this point. So I can just sit back and relax and play chess games. And and okay, I have to get back to getting real work done at some point because there's still things beyond this initial phase of Ethereum 2 that need to be done. But otherwise, like this next phase just is up to the people, up to the community at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I saw that I think you staked like 3,200 Ethereum of your own as well, right?
I'm up to 6,500 now.
6,000. And do you feel like there's always pressure on you for you to be able to stake individually as well whenever you're trying to encourage others to do so?
There again, I don't think I was like heavily pressured. It just seemed like a good thing to do to go in significantly and go in early, just to show confidence in the system.
That makes sense. And I guess just before you head out and keep working, for people who are watching here, maybe interested in Ethereum as well, why would you encourage them to maybe start following now, or what's going to be exciting about Ethereum 2.0?
And I think the exciting thing about Ethereum 2.0 is that it's uh, the same vision as Ethereum originally had, being able to create decentralized applications, open financial platforms, you know, prediction markets, like all sorts of different and new ways for people to collaborate with each other and create a more open economy. Except with ETH2, the difference is that, first of all, we'll actually have the scalability that we need to do all of those things. And so the system won't be kind of bogged down by the 15 transaction per second limit that the existing blockchains are bogged down by. But also proof of stake itself, much more efficient. Consensus algorithm don't need to constantly burn so much electricity 24/7. Just a lot more and a lot more efficient in basically every way. So I guess I view ETH2 as being kind of this set of upgrades that it's needed to get the system to the point where it can actually be used by kind of not just a few nerds, but also just a much larger group of regular people.
Right, and just to water that down a little bit for people who are watching, who maybe don't know as much. So, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So right now, with how it works with proof of work, it takes a lot of computation power, and basically to make any kind of transaction takes a really long time. But if you would be able to move to something like proof of stake, where people are staking their own Ethereum, you could do transactions a lot faster, and it would take less computational power.
Yes.
Okay, I know that was like the watered down version of me saying something like, and this is why you develop your pieces in the opening, but I just want to make sure everyone watching is on the same page. Okay, well, I think hopefully the audience is even more excited now. Thank you again so much for playing. If you ever needed like any chess tips or like a chess lesson, or if you're playing even on Lichess, chess.com, wherever there's a position, just like feel free to send it over, and I'm always happy to help.
Okay, I will. I will. You're in New York, by the way, right?
I actually am moved from New York, and I'm back home in Oregon right now with my parents, and I'm moving to Austin, Texas during COVID, just because New York is so closed up right now, and I wanted somewhere that had nice weather so that I could at least be outside a little bit, since everywhere is closed, and I'm trying to be careful with COVID.
No, I mean, as someone who's literally in a zero latitude location right now, I can totally relate to wanting to be warm during the winter. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's great, and I hope we'll make it over to either Oregon or Austin at some point.
Yeah, that sounds good, and let me know if that's ever the situation.
I will.
All right, well, thank you so much. I'm going to just close off the Zoom call. I'll say bye to my chat. Thank you again. It was really a pleasure. And a really nice job solving these tactics at the end. It's really interesting to see how your mind thinks through them.
Okay, no, have a good night.
All right, take care, Vitalik. Thanks so much. All right, chat. Well, that was really cool. I didn't want to hold him any... Oh my god, my camera is gone. Hang on, chat. Hang on. I got this. Oh, no, I don't. Boom. Yes, I do. Oh, no, I don't have my camera on because I used it for Zoom. Hee hee. Okay, 1 second, chat. I'm right here. I'm actually right here. Give me a second. Boom. Okay, we're here. Yeah, that was really cool. I didn't want to keep him any longer. I know he's super busy. I hear my voice on so loudly. I think my dad is listening to the other room and it's actually echoing. I'm sorry that my internet gave up at some point. I was recording the video, so we'll put it on YouTube if anybody was missing it. I think it's really cool what they're working on right now. I guess I started getting interested in cryptocurrency because some of my smartest friends that I had in college, not me, they were always talking about it, probably like my senior year. A little bit junior, senior year, and I started learning about it, and it's so cool when I found out that Vitalik also plays chess himself. So, yeah. Aw, Vitant, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I know that I wasn't talking to you guys as much as usual. Mostly I just didn't want to really distract. Who's number one in points, Mega? Oh, I think my dad turned it down because he heard me saying it. Whether invested or not, it's a bit of futurology, fun to think about where the future will go. Yeah, the way I think about it, Ethereum, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, and I'm not a pro. I'm kind of like a normie who's tried to learn a lot from my friends who are very smart and work in this. But obviously there's Bitcoin, which is the biggest cryptocurrency, and then Ether, which is the second. And we think, the way I think about it is like Bitcoin is probably going to be the most likely if it's going to succeed as a universal currency. And then Ether is a currency, or Ethereum is probably the coolest technology, and that's actually utilizing blockchain right now. So I'm always interested in learning more. It's so complicated, and I wish I had like a programming background and a math background to understand all of it, but regardless, it's really interesting to read, and having someone like Vitalik on was just super cool. Thank you so much, Bitcoin Louie, for the 5 subs. Really appreciate it. Oh, AMAT is number one in subways. That makes sense. Bitcoin is going to become like a gold reserve for cryptocurrencies to back them up. Well, I mean, that's the argument that people make, Seppa, right? That if Bitcoin is going to end up being worth as much as gold, then it'll probably 30x from where it is now, if you're looking at market caps. Bitcoin was a neat proof of concept. Ethereum has more practical value, says Herbivore Cyborg. I am not going to get into this debate. I think it would be really cool to have people on. Actually, tomorrow at... What time was it going to be at? I think tomorrow at 3 p.m. I have a good friend of mine who's a startup founder who's going to come on. We're going to do like podcast style. And another friend of mine who works in the crypto space, he's on OpenSea. He's also going to come on stream. So we are actually going to be doing a little bit more talks with people in the startup community. I don't know if you guys are interested, so we're going to ramp it up a little bit. And then if people like it, we'll keep going. If not, I'll just do it in my private time, you know? You regret subbing to this channel? What do you mean? What do you mean? You know what? I hope you don't. I hope you don't. That's not the case. That's not the case. Yeah, so my friend who is coming tomorrow, so she was a co-founder of Scale, which is now $1 billion valuation company, and she's only like 25, which is insane. She's also doing a lot of angel investing right now. She was a Thiel fellow. She has some crazy cool stories. So I'm going to be talking to her tomorrow, and we'll be doing chess before, since, chess is still the core. And then later this week, we're going to talk with my friend who co-founded this company called OpenSea. And basically they work on like crypto collectibles. I don't know if any of you guys remember CryptoKitties, but basically eBay for crypto collectibles. So yeah, it'll be really fun. Did all your friends just co-found everything? No, but I have a lot of really smart friends, honestly. And I'm really lucky for that. What kind of friends does Andrea have? Well, I mean, Andrea has her high school friends. No, I feel like the dumbest person in my friend group, you guys. So don't give me with the really. I'm not flexing my friends. I actually think having really smart friends has been one of the most difficult things for my ego, because I always feel like I'm super dumb. But yeah. I said OpenSea. Oh, like you got me. You're not talking to me, are you? The scale discussion is your jam, Vitant? Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Vitant, if you have any questions, let me know in Discord. Oh, that was so cool. It was really interesting to hear. I know I told him this and he's already not, so it's not too repetitive. But seeing his brain process work through things was fascinating. He actually is a really good writer also. You guys can check out some of the things he writes about it. It's not just crypto related. Oh, dolphins, I appreciate it. To you all, you can relate with it then, right? Your high school friend is working at Scale right now. She started after graduating MIT. You know how I feel. There you go, Vila. Oh, your friend is working there. Okay, that's very cool. Ruben, my old co-founder, is also working at Scale now. Yeah, Vitalik is definitely a genius. I know if you Google his IQ, it says something like 250, which is absurd. I don't know if that's just joking, because I don't think it could even go that high. I think it can go up to like 190 or something. What is the maximum IQ someone can have? Maximum IQ is... Oh, I was off when I said 190. Apparently 160. Well, my bad. I know 250 was a meme. IQ is... Mensa's over 200? I don't think so. This is what Google is saying. Maybe we just did a really cool Google. Let me see. Mensa requires you to be in the top 2%, which is 132 or higher. There you go. This is according to Healthline, so they're not the most credible source necessarily. Channer. I'm not qualified to give anybody investment advice, but I also hope if people are watching, they don't just take investment advice from chat, and that they go and they research and they do their own work. That's all I'm gonna say. So that was cool. This is the first time you got to watch for a long time, Dace Parado. Ooh, well, thank you so much for tuning in. You're a new viewer, and this has brought you back to chess. That's awesome. Well, I'm really glad you're getting back into chess. We're always going to be doing chess on this channel, even if we are doing some other stuff at the same time. So like podcast style or having guests. Andrea did a cooking stream today. Chess is always going to be one of our favorite activities. Let me see if I missed anybody while we were playing. As I said, I didn't want to call out any donations or stuff like that. Just because I wanted to be completely focused, and then at some point my internet gave out, and it hasn't given out forever, and of course it does during this. So Beton, thank you for the 1,000 bits. N Ranger meme, Oxagon, Sphinth, Violet Grandino, Beef Cheeks, Mike Morton, Megatron, Vinicis, also Jand X, who donated 25k bits. I don't know who you are, but I just wanted to say Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's very generous. Deeth, Moons, Bobby, Haska Trades, Deeth, Justin Sun, Satoshi. Okay, Satoshi. Good one. Squid's Body, Score, Angelo, Jeff the Baker, Axagus, Jay-Z, Jimmy Gigi, Crimson Hawk, and again, George Hotz for the huge host. It's very appreciated. Yeah. You're in the same sentence as Ranger Meme, exactly, Beton. Alright, chat. Well, this was our stream today. I hope you guys all take care and have a great rest of your night. You like the multiple things, that's awesome. Oh my god, the pie Andrea made was amazing. It was so good. It was so good. It's a fantastic pie. Andrea is a good baker. Cutie is a fantastic coach. I loved it. I loved it. It was really, really good. Because I didn't join her. Wow. No, not like that. So let's give our raid over to somebody. Let's see. You know, why don't we raid? Let's see. Oh my gosh, Beton, thank you so much for the 25 subs. That's insane. Thank you so much, Beton. Holy smokes. Holy smokes, Beton. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's really kind of you. Stay a while, newbies. Yeah, stay a while. Our community is really, really fun. Beton is how you pronounce it, Zorn. I'm not saying you're wrong. Mapriel, thank you so much for the 10,000 bits. That's huge. Yeah, I'm gonna raid Mr. Llama SC. He is a, I was about to say StarCraft. He's a Diablo speedrunner. He also plays chess. He recently hit 100k subs. He's a really good friend of mine and one of the most wholesome streamers out there. So we're gonna give him a raid. You guys can just show him some love because he's super nice and really deserves it. I will be back tomorrow at, I believe, was it 1 or 2? Was it 1 or 2? Oh my gosh. My friends my friends are sending very things, so what the heck? How are there memes already? How are there memes already? Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.